friends, welcome to part 2 of my Q&A video that I did. I didn't want to put up a whole half an hour one, and I knew I was going to talk a lot, but we're going to finish the second half of this Q&A video now today. So we'll just get right into that. Tracy asks, your energy level from day 1 to date, how much more energy do you have? I have a lot more energy. When I first started, I think when you first start raw, if you're coming from a high fat diet like I was, huge amounts of fat, it takes a little while for the fat to dissipate out of your bloodstream so that your body can use the sugars properly, but it didn't really take that long, a couple weeks. And even the first day I did feel like I had more energy because I wasn't eating the junk. But after a while, it just gradually, I started to have a lot more energy, and I do have a lot more energy. I can do a lot more now than I could before. And in August, I ran a half marathon on bananas, and I beat my old time. I beat my personal trainer, and it was just an overall great experience, but I never ever would have been able to do that on the standard American diet. I wasn't even able to run 1 or 2 kilometers, and I didn't train for this marathon. I just got up. I don't think I worked out for a couple weeks before it too, so not saying that you should always train, but I didn't, and I just got up and I ran the half marathon on bananas. So it's the fruit that gives you the sugar, that gives you the energy because your cells run on sugar, but because I eat low fat, it's able to be absorbed quite quickly. Yes, you do need to eat a little bit more often, but that's natural. It's unnatural to live eating and feeling full for 4 to 6 hours. That's unnatural. It's not how we're meant to be. That is a product of modern society and the 9-to-5 jobs and all that kind of stuff. Back in the wild, we just ate whenever we wanted, and we ate a lot, and we just hung out with our families and did our hobbies and, survived, basically. But we ate a lot and often, whenever we felt like it and whenever we could find food. So that's how we should be living. We should be eating more often. Our bodies are constantly looking for food. So if you feel hungry, it's because you need that sugar energy. So just eat some fruit and you'll be good. At least I am anyways. Okay, let's see here. Lizel, how do you prohibit yourself from losing more weight? That's a great question because I've lost a lot of weight and I have to eat more calories to maintain my weight. If I went down or if I remained eating the same amount that I was, I lost weight on 2,100 to 2,300 calories a day, and I know that's not the same for everybody. Some people might need a little less if they are shorter than me, and some people may need more if they are more active or taller than me. But that's the average where I lost all my weight. But I kept losing weight, and I didn't want to keep losing weight. I don't want to keep losing weight, so I have to eat more, especially if I work out. If I work out and say I burn 450 calories on a really long run, I have to replace that with 4 or 5 bananas, because otherwise I'm in a calorie deficit, and I don't want to be in a calorie deficit. So I have to eat enough to cover those calories that I burned. And I find that my metabolism is super high right now. Now that I've lost all the weight, I just feel like I burn like crazy. So I have to eat a lot to maintain my weight. Otherwise, I will keep getting smaller. So today, on average, I eat around 2,400 to 2,500 to 2,700 calories a day if I'm active. Let's see. Miranda, what is your favorite healthy comfort food? My favorite healthy comfort food would have to probably be, I really like pineapples. That comforts me. My red pepper cashew dip with veggies, that's a really good one. I really don't have, now that I've released a lot of that kind of stuff, I don't really have the stuff that comforts me. I really can't think of anything other than fruit. Yeah, the pineapple is something that makes me feel really comforting, but even then it's just, I don't know. That's a really good question because I've released all of those foods that were, I believe that the comfort foods cover or hide something that you might be experiencing. At least they were for me. Fear, inadequacy, a lot of stuff that can be inside you that you're just, feeding with comfort foods. So once you release the comfort foods, those emotions come up and you do have to deal with them. And I did talk about that in another video, but it's, I don't know. I don't really have comfort foods. If I had to think of something, maybe my raw chili would be kind of comforting in a way. Maybe because it's warm. Maybe because of the cashew sour cream. That might be probably one of my favorite things. Actually, my favorite thing in the whole world to eat right now is my spinach dip, and that's in my 30-day meal plan. Link in the description below if you want to get that. I think it's on day 27. I can't remember, or 21. But it's like a sour cream spinach dip. It's almost exactly the same, and I'll just dip veggies in that. So yeah, when it comes to comfort food, there's not really a lot that I have that's actually, because I don't really need to cover something up, I guess. I don't know. That's a good question. Never really thought about that. Brielle asks, do you have a garden or grow your own food, and do you use organic produce and spices? I don't, unfortunately, have a garden. I wish I did, but we don't. The condo board won't allow us to grow in our lawn. We can grow in pots if we want. I do really, really want to get a tower garden so that I can grow lots of lettuce inside, and it's organic and it'll be my own. I can just get it whenever I want. I can grow herbs and spices there too, so I can always have fresh herbs and spices. But when it comes to the organic debate, I believe in organics 100%. I do. But I can't afford to eat organic all the time. Plus, the variety isn't there. Especially living way up here in Canada, there isn't really the great variety that I would like in organic. So I personally would rather eat conventionally and stay raw because of the variety and the amount of food that I can buy than to be restricted and limited and financially strapped eating lower amounts of calories because I can't buy as much food eating organic. So you weigh the both, and I personally don't mind eating conventional. Just wash them in hydrogen peroxide vinegar, rinse them really well. I do buy a lot of organic when I can, but again, it's expensive and the variety isn't there, unfortunately. I try to buy as much organic, and the spices that I get aren't always organic either. I do try, again, but when it comes down to being a raw vegan or potentially falling off, I'd rather be one and actually have the variety and the calories that I need to sustain this lifestyle. So that one's a tough one too, because I'd love to be 100% organic, but it's technically not possible for me to do that. Okay, and then on Instagram, I have a couple questions here. How long after you went raw did you see weight loss? And I know it wasn't your focus, but I just wondered. I really didn't pay attention a lot to the weight loss. I did weigh myself once a week, once every 2 weeks-ish, just to see where I was at. Sometimes I'd be down a pound, sometimes I wouldn't lose anything. I think there was a 3-month period where I didn't lose any weight at all. And then all of a sudden it just fell off. So I think the human body deals with things at different stages. Maybe it's holding on to something because it needs it to heal. This is a process. It took me a long time to get to where I was, and it wasn't going to take me 3 months to get back to this. This took 16 to 18 months to get. I've been the same weight for about 4 months. So yeah, it's about 14, 16 months that I've been like this. And that it took to get me like this. So it's not like a couple months thing, and it's not something that you're going to lose the weight and then go off and then eat regular food again. This is a lifestyle, and it's a change, and it's a gradual thing. And I know people really want to lose their weight, but it did take you a long time to get to where you are, so you have to be patient with yourself. You have to be loving to yourself, and you have to focus on your health and not the weight loss. The weight loss will come off eventually, but you are where you are because of the choices that you made. So you need to accept that and take your time and be patient with yourself and love yourself, and you will get to where you're going, but you have to be consistent and you have to not pressure yourself to lose the weight. The slower you lose the weight also, the better your skin is, the tighter that your skin will be. It will never get perfect at the end, but it'll be better than if you lost the weight super fast. So you want to lose it slowly anyways, and you're doing it for health. So I think I noticed a couple pounds the first week, and then a couple after. But again, like I said, I really wasn't keeping track. I really didn't care. But now that I'm here, it's obvious that I lost that much weight. I really didn't notice until my clothes started to get really loose. And then, you know, you see yourself, it's like, great, this is awesome. And then you gradually keep losing weight. Eventually, you get to a point where you're like, Kate, now I need to eat more so I don't keep losing weight. You'll find that sweet spot too when you get there. Vegan Jessie on Instagram, hi. Can't get the calorie counting out of my mind and always try to restrict calories, which ends up a few days of binge eating or a few days in a binge. I should know better, but my old eating disorder is in my way. Any tips here? This is tough too because I grew up knowing that you need to restrict calories to lose weight. You don't. The reason why people need to restrict calories is because they're eating the wrong foods. When you're eating the right foods, you don't have to worry about restricting your calories. If you're eating the right foods in the right ratios, so low fat, high carb, and you're eating the right ratios, 10% fat, 10 to 15% fats, because some people need a little extra fats than others. Some people can go down to, I like 8% fats, but you'll figure out where you're okay. You know you eat too many fats when you feel tired, sluggish, cravings, sugar crashes. That's when you know you've had too much fat, so you got to lower it down. But again, you want to stay in the low fat and the high fruit and veggie, like lots of fruits and lots of veggies. You need your greens. But if you're eating enough calories for the day, you don't need to restrict them if you're eating proper foods. Again, the only reason why people need to restrict their calories is because they're eating the wrong foods. And when you restrict your calories, you restrict your nutrition, so you're also not as nourished as you would be if you ate the whole amount. In the beginning, it is really difficult to get your mind around the fact that you're eating all of these calories, but they're the calories that your body needs to function properly. So the reason you binge is because you've restricted your calories for X amount of days and your cells are just dying for sugar and dying for nutrition, so that's why you binge. And you typically binge on stuff that you've been craving because you've been restricting, so your body's just going to want anything. But if you eat a lot of calories and you eat the proper foods, you don't need to worry about that. If you're hungry, eat some fruit. Don't restrict yourself. Never restrict yourself. But you don't want to overeat either, because that's another problem. But you'll find your special balance of calories, and it is different for everybody. Like I said, I'm 5'6". That was another question that I wanted to address. I'm 5'6", and I weigh about 117 to 120 pounds in there. But I eat 2,400 to 2,700 calories a day because my metabolism's really high. When I was losing weight, it was 2,100 to 2,300 calories. So you can take that. If you're taller than me, you might need more. If you're shorter than me, you might need less. But you'll find your own special balance of calories. Just make sure that you don't restrict. If you're hungry and you need food, eat some fruit and veggies. That's the best piece of advice that I can give. Living Earth Child says, what's your advice on trying to eat raw vegan when at work? I already addressed that one in the previous video. The link is in the description below, so head on over to that video to watch that. Do you eat fruit at night also? I heard it's not good to eat fruit past 2 p.m. I eat fruit all day long, and I did mention, I think in the last video or this one, now I can't remember, but I do eat fruit late. Actually, just a couple nights ago, I had a whole pineapple and about 10 little mandarin oranges while watching TV. So I personally don't find there's a problem with eating fruit after 2 p.m. I think that that is only for people who are eating high fat, typical standard North American diet, or yeah, again, high fat because the fat is causing insulin issues. So and that's where people are like, I can only have half a banana because I get these sugar crashes, but they probably ate high fat for breakfast, or they are always eating high fat or had high pizza for dinner or something, and then they can only have half a banana because it makes a sugar crash. I find that if I eat fruit or if I eat high fat, like in the past when I used to do raw, I'd eat high fat and then eat fruit or whatever and I'd get a sugar crash. So, but I don't now. I don't at all, but it's because I eat low fat. That is my theory, and that I feel amazing on that, and that's what I'm gonna stick to. Okay, children, specifically toddlers with only a few molars, any tips on making raw foods fun for kids that aren't fabulous at biting and chewing? Cucumbers, you can peel those. Those are great with a dip. Smoothies, again, smoothies are so awesome. You can do smoothies for kids, they like those, but soft fruits, are great for snacking. You can make little pictures with the fruits, like, or lay them out to make like a design, like a palm tree or something, with your soft fruits and veggies. But again, yeah, dips. I don't have kids, so I'm not really too knowledgeable on that one. I know I have nephews and they like it when I bring over the red pepper cashew dip. They really like to dip veggies in that. And yeah, smoothies are a good one. Smoothies and soft fruit would probably be the best option. Again, I don't have a kid, so I don't know. I can give you the best answer that I could there. Do you think that the low-fat raw vegan works for everybody? I see other raw foodies on YouTube who eat low-fat raw vegan diet and they're not losing any weight. What is this reason? You think some people need to eat more fat than others? I personally believe that the science says that high fat causes insulin resistance. So I don't believe any of us should be eating high fat, but there are some people who need a little more fat than some do, but to keep it low fat. So I believe low fat is anywhere between 5%, which is more detox, and about 15%, which is good for people who need a little more fat, but maybe 20% max. And then you're into the high fat realm. And the average North American eats 30 to 35% to 40% fats. So some people consider 30% to be low fat. I don't. I consider 30% to be moderate to high fat. I can't go 30% or I'd be passed out and I would probably get sugar crashes and weight gain. I think that if you're gaining weight, it could be related to your sleep. You might not be sleeping properly because sleep and stress are so linked with weight gain. Because if you're stressed out, you're producing a lot of cortisol, and guess what cortisol does? It breaks down your muscle mass into sugar and it can store it as fat. So I personally would say stress and sleep are huge. Maybe they're eating too much for their body. I don't believe in calorie stuffing. A lot of people will eat like this obscene amount of calories. Sorry guys, ran out of room on my phone again. Yeah, so this video is getting a little long. But anyways, some people eat a ton of calories when they don't actually need it. They don't actually need that many. You just need to hit your nutrition goals and get enough calories to sustain you for the day. If you're not active, you don't need the 3,000 or 3,500 calories. That could be why they're gaining weight, because they're just not burning off the calories. We just need to get our nutrition and the calories we need for the day, and then you will lose weight. So you don't need to calorie stuff, and you don't need to eat like all the time unless you're working out. Then you can eat more. But you'll find your own personal balance. And I always say to aim for 2,000 calories, and because that's where most of us get most of our nutrition. If you're eating all plants, you'll get a lot of nutrition at 2,000 calories, trust me. If you feel you need to eat more, then yes, eat more, but you don't need to stuff, and it's not a race. You don't need to eat 3,000 calories like so-and-so does, or 3,500 calories like someone else does, or whatever. Eat where you feel is best, but don't calorie restrict. Please don't calorie restrict. Just don't overeat. There is a balance and you'll find it. I found mine was 2,100 to 2,300, and that's where I was losing weight at that amount. You don't need to eat 17 bananas in the morning and then all of this other stuff in the afternoon, and then all of a sudden you're at 3,500 calories and you wonder why you're gaining weight. There is the law of thermodynamics where you do burn calories, but you need the nutrition. So yes, you need to find your balance. Start with 2,000 calories and work up from there. Again, if you're shorter than me, you might need a little bit less, but don't restrict your calories. Please don't restrict. Let's see. Just wondering how tall you are. Yes, I'm 5'6" and I'm about 117 to 120 pounds now, and I've maintained that for the last 4 months. So that's great. Ren Vegan says, what are your tips on shifting the mindset from weight loss as the main goal to general health and well-being, and how often did you weigh yourself? Thank you for sharing your journey with us. You're welcome. I love that I can share my journey. I never had, I was so sick and tired of the weight loss thing because I yo-yoed for years and years and years, and I tried lots of different diets. I did the paleo thing, I did the low carb thing, my phone's giving me a lot of warnings. I gotta finish this up. Okay, so I was doing all of these diets and I wasn't losing any weight. So finally, when I became a raw vegan this time around, I was like, screw it, I'm just doing this for health. And because I watched those videos, Cowspiracy Earthlings and Forks Over Knives, I was like, I'm doing this for my health. I'm doing it for the animals. I'm doing it for the planet. I'm doing it for my health. I think that's where my mind shifted, and I didn't care about the weight loss. I knew the weight loss was going to come off, and maybe switching your mindset to believing that, yes, eventually one day it will be off, and I'll be happy there, because eventually one day I got to where I am. So I didn't think about that. I didn't think about all the bad food that I was eating to get to where I am today. So why would I think about all the good food that I'm eating that will get me small later on? It's about consistency. It's about every day making those healthy choices. And eventually one day you'll wake up and be like, whoa, I need to buy new clothes because you've lost the weight. But focusing on your nutrition, making sure that you get enough calories, and maybe make it a game, maybe make it a goal to hit certain nutrition goals. Maybe for a week you want to hit all your calcium goals, and that's your goal. Or maybe you want to hit your fiber goals, or maybe you have an achievement to hit 95 grams of fiber one day, or something like that. Maybe make some games out of it to distract your mind from the weight loss. The weight loss will happen if you eat properly, you eat in the right ratios for your body, and you stop eating the junk food. Increase your exercise if you want to lose weight a little faster, because that'll put you in more of a calorie deficit. So you'll want to do that. But yeah, focusing on your reasons. Every single morning, wake up and say, I'm a raw vegan for my health. I'm a raw vegan for the animals. I'm a raw vegan for the planet. I'm a raw vegan to be an example for others. Focusing on your reasons, and not like the weight loss is going to come off, because if you're focusing on your health, you'll be leaner because that's a healthier body. So you'll just focus on, I don't know how to shift your mindset. It takes time. It's like a habit. If you tell yourself every single day that you're doing it for health, that might help switch your mind and create new neural pathways in your head about that. So there's that. Froggy78 says, how many calories should I eat if I'm trying to lose weight? Again, you're going to need to find your own balance. Mine was 2,100 to 2,300. Yours might be a little less if you're shorter than me. It might be a little more if you're bigger than me and taller, actually, and do more exercise. So you will find your own balance. Again, 2,000 is a really great place to start. I have 3 kids and cook for them, and I find it really challenging to eat a raw diet and still have cooked meat and everything I can't eat. They said they will not stop eating meat. This is a mindset thing. I personally believe when I cook for my husband, I basically do it as a chore. Not a chore, I don't want to say it's like a chore, but I do it like ironing or folding the laundry or sweeping the floor or whatever. It's an act that produces a result. So I'm just making the food, and the house smells nice. And I've done a lot of videos about the mental connection with us and food and the smells and things like that. You can go check those out. They're on my YouTube channel. But I believe that the smell is just like an air freshener. It just scents the house. And I don't link food with the smells anymore as much as I used to. Before, I used to smell something and be like, oh, I'm so hungry, I need this. Now I just smell it and it's like, that smells good. And I don't think of it as food. I just think it smells nice. So you do have to, again, you have to work with your mind. You have to constantly be on top of it and constantly be reminding yourself that that isn't linked with the food that you eat now. Another thing is that if you're cooking for them and you have to make something separate for you, don't feel that they're a burden on you, because if you weren't eating raw, you'd be eating that anyway. So you're making it anyway. Your meal is special for you. If you change your mindset and believe that your meal is special for you, you're taking care of yourself, you're doing this for you, this is special, it's more of like a me time, and you feel a lot better about making that food for you than being resentful about making that stuff for them. You're still gonna need to make that anyways, so just do it as a thing and just get it over with. Make their food. Maybe share some of your food with them. Have them eat more raw food, because that's awesome. But your meal is special for you, and you're doing this for you because you love yourself. So focus on your meal being amazingly special, and that might help with your mindset on that. Lissa, I'd like to ask what you eat in a day. I have a YouTube playlist with 24 plus examples of what I eat in a day, and you can find that in the description below. There's a link for the playlist, or you can hunt through my YouTube channel. There's tons of them. I post them every once in a while. I'll post a what I ate in a day video, so there's lots of examples on YouTube. You can also get my 30-day meal plan, which is exactly how I eat, and you can see exactly what I eat every day. How do I stay raw when I travel? Again, I addressed that already. I keep getting tempted to cheat. Do you have any tips to help me stay on track? That, again, I have a video about mind hacks. You can go in the link below about cheating. I believe that cheat days are not good because we put these foods that we shouldn't be having on pedestals, and we're like, oh, we're gonna have that thing on Friday. So all week you see this food on this pedestal, but it's bad for us. If you're not supposed to be eating it, but we're putting it on these pedestals and we're like waiting all week to eat this food, it's making bad food be like this godlike thing. It shouldn't be. I don't do cheat days because every day I feel awesome eating raw food. And again, it takes time and it takes consistency and it takes working with yourself. You love yourself enough to choose the proper foods to eat. So you should be proud of yourself for making those choices, and you don't want to ruin it by having a cheat. Let's see, what else? Does it take a large budget for grocery shopping? This will be the last question. A lot of time and prep. Honestly, it doesn't cost a lot. I save a lot of money because I'm not drinking energy drinks, I'm not doing coffees, I'm not going out, I'm not doing takeout, I'm not buying meat and cheese and crackers and cookies and chips and donuts and bagels and all sorts of stuff. I'm not eating all of that. So the amount of money that I am not spending on that, I'm spending on fruits and vegetables. And again, I don't buy expensive stuff. I don't buy things out of season. I eat a lot of dates and bananas and greens on the base of my diet, so it is really cheap. Again, I don't eat a lot of organic. I do eat a lot of conventional. I wish I could do more organic, but I can't. So my grocery budget is actually a lot less than it was before. I think I save, between the two of us, about $300 or $400 a month, because we used to eat a lot of junk on top of the fruits and vegetables that we would buy, and they would rot in the fridge because we'd be more interested in ordering pizza when we would already have food in the fridge. So I know a lot of people go through that, and we weren't the only ones. And another one was the preparation. There really isn't a lot of preparation. There might seem to be a lot of preparation, but again, that's why I made my 30-day meal plan, because it has prep in the days. So if you're gonna have cashews for dinner, first thing in the morning it says soak your cashews. It literally takes 15 seconds to pour water in your cashews. Last time I'm gonna get interrupted. I'm gonna finish this up really quick. I know I talk way too much and this shouldn't have been as long as it has been, but I had a lot of questions and I love answering them, so I just talk. Anyways, back to that, it doesn't take a lot for preparation. You just need to know what to do. Like sprouting is easy. You just pour the water on them, soak them overnight, and rinse them a couple times a day until they sprout. It's not that hard when you know what the prep is. And again, that's why I made my 30-day meal plan, to help with the preparation when it comes to that, because I've included the preparation in between the days so that you can get a good feel for how preparation is. The only thing that really takes a lot of time is chopping, really, or if you're using your dehydrator. So anyways, I'm gonna end this before it tells me again that I have no room on my phone. So click a like if you like these Q&A videos, because I'd love to do more for you guys in the future. Subscribe to my YouTube channel to get notifications for more videos. Find me on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and YouFood, all at Raw Food Romance. My 52 to an EU transition guide to move over to a raw vegan diet. In the description below is a link to buy that, along with my 30-day meal plan. Oh my gosh. Okay, I love you guys so much, and thank you for everything. Thank you for all your questions. If you want me to do more videos like this, post your comments below with questions that you have for me, and I will do more videos in the future. So till the next video, guys, I'm signing off now. Upload this to make room on my phone. I love you. Fruit on.